Today is potato harvest day, and if you have ever bought potatoes at the grocery store and figured you just needed to choose one out of 3 colors, you are going to learn something new and fun today as we harvest. All potatoes are not created equal, and not every potato does every job. Now, please understand, I am not a cook. I love growing my food, but cooking it is a different story, and so this was an entirely new concept for me. But it definitely made harvesting and cooking my potatoes so much more interesting. So what is the difference between different potatoes, either that you grow at the grocery store or that we grow today in our gardens, which I'm going to show you 7 today? It all boils down to starch. The type that makes a fluffy baked potato will fall apart in your potato salad. The one that holds together in a soup isn't the best for mashing. And once you know which is which, and once you learn that you can grow more than just the 3 types offered at the grocery store, you'll enjoy potatoes in the way that they were meant to be enjoyed. Both in this bed in my kitchen garden and in another bed in my big garden, I grew 7 different types of potatoes. And today I'm going to be digging 3 here and then 4 in my large garden. And as I pull each one, I'm going to tell you exactly what it's good for once you get it inside. All right, so let's get to digging. So before we get started, you probably noticed behind me that these are not potato plants that you see. No, these were okra. This was a new succession planting technique I tried this year where I planted potatoes and then I planted okra afterwards. I actually already harvested some of these potatoes in this bed already to make room for the okra that I planted about a month ago. So I got some new potatoes. I harvested red port and Kuribe, and I've been enjoying those. And then I left the rest of them to die back so that I could harvest them and either enjoy them fresh or store them for later use, because the longer you keep them in the ground after the vines die back, the more they're going to have potential to store for longer. But I'm going to check my planner because I don't remember where I planted each variety. I was kind of specific about how I did that, but now I don't remember and I didn't label. So in the kitchen garden, I had 3 different varieties, 3 different rows. In the front row, I harvested red port already. I'm going to be harvesting the rest of those from the big garden, so we'll come back to that one because that one I've actually really enjoyed this year. But we're going to start off with one of my favorites from the past, and that is Purple Viking. All right, so when these started dying back, I cut them at the stems just to help them to be able to dry out a little bit better, but I still have a little bit of the stem remaining. Oh, those are beautiful. So you could already see that the outside is like a purple and magenta, but the flesh, when you open it up, is a creamy white, and this has the best taste. It's one of the best tasting potatoes that I grow. People will often compare it to a Yukon Gold, and I think that's okay to compare that, but to me, the flavor is better with the Purple Viking than the Yukon Gold. Now, it is waxy, but it's on the creamier side of waxy, which means it does something a lot of potatoes can't. It's genuinely good boiled, it mashes into silky mashed potatoes, and it roasts really well too. Now, as I mentioned before, it's one of my best producers. It stands up to leaf hoppers, but it also is more tolerant to drought and scab. So especially if you've had any trouble with that in the past, Purple Viking is a really great option. I just love it in the garden and in the kitchen. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, the next row I have Red Cloud. So I got a couple of ones that have rotted, and I think it's because I probably watered a little bit too much. That has been a little bit of a challenge of this bed sharing some space with cucumbers, even though the cucumbers were way over there on that trellis. Might be something for me to take note of next year. All right, we got some good red clouds, but here is what makes the red cloud different than other red potatoes. Most red potatoes are waxy, which means they're a great boiling potato, a salad potato, because there's something that holds together pretty well with cooking. But Red Cloud is different. It's actually dry and firm on the inside. It has a high starch content, which is actually pretty unusual for a red. So this red potato you can actually bake. It roasts up really beautifully, it fries well, and it both holds its shape and the red color while it does it. Now here's the part that surprised me the most when I started growing Red Cloud. Red Cloud is a really long keeper. Most red potatoes you eat fairly soon after the harvest. They just don't store all that long. But Red Cloud will hold in storage far longer. So if you want a red skin potato that lasts for longer, this is definitely a rare one. Okay, let's finish this kitchen garden off with Kuribe. I've already stolen some from this harvest, so I know it's really good, and it's one of my favorites. Okay, so this is one thing I love about the Kuribe is they actually can get pretty large. This isn't huge, but it's definitely a good personal size baker. And in my climate, it can be hard to grow those big baking potatoes because they really don't like the heat. I'm gonna try one in my big garden, we'll see how it goes. But this is definitely a second choice, which is a really good personal size baking potato, and it is actually very delicious. So this is Kuribe. It is one of the earliest potatoes I grow, ready in about 70 days. So it's usually one of the first ones out of the ground, and it is fantastic as a fresh new potato. That's gonna be a potato that you dig and eat within a few days, skin and all, that hasn't had a chance to kind of develop a thicker skin when you leave it in the ground. Now, when I've taken these larger Kuribes and baked them like a baked potato, they are delicious. Now, they're not as light and fluffy as what you might assume with a more drier potato that you typically eat, but it's still very delicious, and I love to do that. One thing I've learned about this gorgeous purple skin, though, is that if you boil it, the color washes right out into the water. So if you want to keep that color on the plate, roast it or bake it instead. Dry heat is what keeps this purple. So Kuribe is my early one. It's beautiful, versatile, and best eaten not long after digging. Now let's head over to my big garden for 4 more varieties, but while we're walking, let's talk about planting potatoes for a fall harvest. Most of us only think about growing potatoes as a spring crop, which harvests in the summer like I'm doing now. And that is your shot for the year. That's what a lot of people think. But it turns out a lot of us can plant a second crop in the fall. But the biggest problem is not being able to find seed potatoes to plant. I wasn't even able to try growing fall potatoes until I started getting them from Wood Prairie Family Farm. Now, the potatoes that I'm digging today are all from there as well, but they're one of the few, if not the only, companies that sell seed potatoes in the summer for a fall crop. I've put a link and a discount code in the description. Now, it's an affiliate link, so it supports this channel at no extra cost to you, and it's the same certified seed I trust in my own beds. All right, we're now at the big garden where I grew my second half of my potato crop in a 4x8 raised bed over here. Man, it's only 8 o'clock in the morning and I'm already drenched in sweat, heat and humidity of a southern garden. Thankfully, we're in the shade for the time being, but I think I'm just gonna harvest a few of each variety just to show them to you, and then I'm gonna leave the rest to be able to harvest maybe in an evening, or maybe if we'll get a cool front come through when it's not 95 degrees. But let's take a look at the varieties here in this garden. We have Red Port, Prairie Blush, Sarpo Una, and Caribou Russet. So the first one that I'm gonna dig here is going to be Red Port. And I think I had some Red Cloud mixed in at the front here, just the way that my seed potato order was. And I'm pretty sure I'll be able to tell the difference because that Red Port is that real brilliant magenta type color. So we're gonna start with those and then we'll go to the next ones. I can definitely tell this soil is not near as saturated, which is really good. So as you can see, this is a bright red potato that holds that color long into storage. Now this is also a moist potato, which means it's low starch, so it's on the opposite end from Red Cloud that I dug before. Now soft and moist means it's great steamed or sauteed, and it also boils really well. Now here's where I recommend knowing the differences in potatoes, but testing them in your kitchen for different uses. Everything says that a soft, moist potato like this one is the wrong potato for mashed potatoes. But I've actually tried this and I made mashed potatoes out of Red Port and they came out creamier than the others, but they were delicious. So don't be afraid to test out and try. Out in the garden, as you can see, it's an easygoing grower too. It resists scab, black spot, and bruising, which means more clean potatoes are coming out of the ground. So here we go, Red Port, soft, moist, lovely red skin, and it was really productive in my garden. Okay, next we have Prairie Blush. This one is one I'm a little charmed by. Prairie Blush. Look at that gold skin with a pink blush washed all over it. It came from a Yukon Gold. It's actually an offspring of one, and you can taste the family resemblance. It's buttery, golden flesh. It's a rich, old-fashioned potato flavor. It's a moist, dense potato in about the middle of the starch range, and so it roasts, it fries, and it boils. So here we've got Prairie Blush. If you love Yukon Gold, this is your potato, just prettier. The next one I have is Caribou Russet. This is one that I've only grown in my green stock before, and it's one I've kind of shied away from because I didn't know if it would do well in our heat. So let's see how it goes. And here we have Caribou Russet. Now when you close your eyes and you think about a potato, the baked potato with butter or the big bowl of mashed potatoes, this is the one you're probably picturing. This one came out of the University of Maine, and it's the classic russet. It's dry, floury, high starch. This is the best baker and the best masher of everything I've dug. It bakes up fluffy, it mashes light, and it also makes a beautiful French fry. If you want one dedicated baking and mashing potato in your garden, grow this one. And one thing to keep in mind, this potato was bred for cooler northern climates. So up in Maine, where the Wood Prairie farm is, it is absolutely in its element. But down here in our heat, it still performs, but just not as high as some of the other varieties that I have. But that's worth knowing, because if you're gardening from somewhere warm like I am, just know that it may not have as high of yields in a warm climate. And what I found really interesting is that these were really much deeper than all the other potatoes that I grew. And I'm probably gonna come back out here with a big old garden spade and just see if there's more that I wasn't able to unearth at the higher levels of the raised bed. So we'll see if I actually get a bigger harvest, but I'm excited to bring these in my kitchen. Finally, I have Sarpo Una. I already think that this one did pretty well, because when I was digging the Caribou Russet, I dug quite a few of the Sarpo Unas by accident. They had a tendency to sprawl. Oh, how pretty are these? This is the first time I've ever grown them. This last one, Sarpo Una, is here for a reason that starts actually in the garden, not the kitchen. If you have gardened through a hot, humid summer, then you know blight, early blight. It can take a potato patch down fast. Sarpo Una has good resistance to early blight, but in the kitchen, it's a waxy potato. So it holds together. Boiling potato salad, tossing into a soup or stew where you need the pieces to stay in pieces and not disintegrate. It's firm and it's dependable. And also, any waxy potato is a great option for canning because it holds up well to the high heat that canning will put it through. Now, I have tried Yukon Golds in canning and they disintegrate a little bit in the jar, while waxy potatoes like this one don't do that. Since this is the first time that I'm growing Sarpo Una, I was actually really impressed with how well it performed in my garden. So here's the big garden. We've got red port, soft and creamy, Prairie Blush, the prettier Yukon Gold, Caribou Russet, the baker and the masher, and Sarpo Una, the productive and tough waxy one that can withstand early blight better than others. Now, if you're intrigued about these varieties and others and don't want to wait for next spring to try them out, consider a fall planting. I learned this straight from Jim at Wood Prairie Family Farm, where I got my seed potatoes. They've been running trials, and even way up in northern Maine, they're planting potatoes on the 1st of August and bringing in a successful fall crop. What that means for you and me is that most of the country isn't limited to a spring crop. Most of us can plant a second round of potatoes in the fall. The tricky part has always been getting seed, though, at the right time, because freshly harvested potatoes need a rest period before they'll sprout. That's why I can't simply plant these that I've just harvested. They won't sprout in time for me to get a harvest before winter. But Wood Prairie now ships fresh certified seed every week of the year that have gone through that rest period to work around that. So now, if you've ever wanted to try a potato fall crop, you can actually get seed when you need it. If you want to grow any of these varieties I dug today, or any of the other multiple varieties that they offer, I will put a link to Wood Prairie and a discount code down in the description. And in the meantime, I want to hear from you. Have you learned which varieties of potatoes that you enjoy in your kitchen for different purposes? If so, as I said, I'm not a cook, so I'm still learning these things on the fly. I would love to know in the comments.